Hello, everybody. This is Taco Movie Talks, and we are into week 9, episode 9. And this is a movie that I was wanting to see for a long time, just kind of waiting for the right time. And dagnabbit, we are at the right time right now. Without further ado, it is Black Swan, Darren Aronofsky, and what a freaking film it is. I was such a fan of this. It felt very much like adaptation. It felt very much like I'm trying to pull what I thought this also would have went well with. But it's a mind bender for sure, and I very much like this movie. It is a huge movie for Natalie Portman. I believe I think it showed what a lot of people already knew. I mean, I know one of the reviews from a while back. It was Leon the Professional, and it was when Natalie Portman was very young, probably, early teenage years. And you could see, I mean, this kid has got some serious skills. And to see the maturation, which is weird coming from me because I think I am younger than Natalie Portman, but I guess just from, a reviewer's standpoint, to see that, I mean, she is a force in this one. I think it is one of those films where if you're not kind of keeping in mind that this is a thought out methodical process that the actual actress is going through rather, it might not be fully appreciated, but this is a hard act. I think this is something that any actress or actor would die for. This is the type of role where you really get to throw all of yourself into the role. You get to channel so much. And if you're not ready for it, man, it could really blow up in your face. But damn, Natalie Portman was certainly more than ready. I mean, she took this role by the horns and absolutely mastered it, and it's probably one of my favorite performances, period. And that I think is you have to give a nod to Natalie Portman without a doubt. You have to give a nod to Darren Aronofsky too for trying to interpret something very complex and very much I'm trying to say I think self-referential is the term that I'm going to use to describe it because there's the fact that it is really it is playing out the play in the movie while also putting on the play is a big part of the plot. And just diving back a short bit, I said adaptation would be a good double feature for this. I also think Birdman, the ignorance of virtue. I can't completely remember what the rest of the title was, but that would be a tremendous double feature with this because they're a little bit similar. It's the story within the story, but this kind of takes it a step further. It's like the perfect love child between adaptation and Birdman, where we are getting a really good perspective of the main protagonist. And I kind of pause there because I'm not sure she's very much in that gray area, which is ironic because of the black and white kind of motif going on throughout this movie with the white swan and the black swan, but we get a lot of the transition between one another, kind of as Natalie Portman's character is trying to get to a place where she can channel something to be the darker side of herself. We see her moving from what is a pure character, someone who is almost childlike in a way, very naive, uh, isn't so much influenced by all the negative forces in life, to kind of a hardened, obsessive person who would give anything to be at the spot that she gets to, which is very, very interesting. So, just a story beats perspective before I get way too far ahead of myself, which I think I might have already done. But Natalie Portman is a ballet dancer, kind of at the turning of a page within her dance troupe's history, where they're looking for kind of a new face for the company. And it just so happens that she is, it's not like it's one of these things where it's preordained, but she is next in line because, from a technical perspective, she has what it takes, but she is willing to push the bounds, which is what is needed for this upcoming role, to kind of break out of this shell that she has manufactured for herself, to get to a more dynamic performance where it's not so much about being robotic, for lack of a better term, or technically in line. When you're the face, you kind of are supposed to be able to flourish above what the background dancers are able to do. So it's very neat in that perspective to kind of see what it takes personally, because that is one of the big lines that is made throughout this film, that she has to make personal discoveries and progress to kind of get where she needs to be professionally. It very much mirrors where she's at, where when she's finally able to kind of let go of all of these rules and strict guidelines that she has set upon herself, as well as her mother, and kind of break away from her mother, which I think her mother very much symbolized sticking to these roles, um, maybe not playing it safe, but staying on the process, trusting the process. And it didn't get her mother very far. She kind of has to go outside herself to ascend to a point where she can accomplish more than she ever would have been able to if she didn't. She kind of probably would have, I don't know if bottomed out, but she probably would have very much put a ceiling on herself as far as what she was able to accomplish if she did so, where she finds an influence in Mila Kunis's character, who is able to kind of propel her to pushing outside her comfort zone to get that ability to channel the Black Swan, where she's kind of naturally a white swan. It's such a deep, complex movie, and I really, really love it. It's maybe one of the best character studies that you can check out, and I love how other characters kind of push and pull at Natalie Portman's character to kind of get her where she needs to be. And she is very so obsessed to where it almost seems to play up the fact that this movie could very well be a mental illness and obsession story, and it gets played out in the end where things really start to ramp up when the actual first performance for Natalie Portman happens, and she's seeing like complete hallucinations, and she is very much not playing the role, she is living the role, where she has complete personality changes as her character is changing, so much so that at the very end where she is to kind of throw herself off the fake cliff on the set of the stage. She takes glass that she broke as she was kind of, I think, wrestling with herself in her dressing room and stabs herself prior to her going out. And then it looks as though she bleeds out in the end as her character perishes, so does she, and it was her living the performance, feeling it, being completely lost in this character to where the lines are so blurred that they no longer exist between her and her portrayal. It's very, very cool, and I like where it's like she's playing a person who's playing a person, and she is so lost in that meta-ness of it all, and it's an absolutely brilliant film, and I think that it is one that if I were to rewatch it, I think it could very well push into the 5 out of 5 stars character territory. I really, really liked it. I gave it 4.5, and I think that there's definitely potential for this to go to 5. And I would encourage you, look, if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. If you have seen it, it might be time for a rewatch. I'm surprised that I was able to go so long without watching this one because there's so many aspects that this movie does very like so well that I love, and it's damn good, and Darren Aronofsky is definitely a guy that I'm going to be watching more of. Um, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. Somehow The Wrestler has gone, um, I've gone this far without watching it, so I think that perhaps might be the next one that I watch by him. This one's just, I think it's groundbreaking in a way, and I think it even surpasses Birdman and adaptation and what it's able to do because the ending is, I think, even better in this one than that one, and the the portrayal is just so damn good, and it takes a little bit to kind of unravel what it's doing, which I think also adds a huge part to it. There's just so much intrigue there. There's so much to latch on to with this movie that it is just one of the greats, and I really, really, really like this movie. So I encourage you to check it out. And thank you for checking this video out. I hope that this review was good for you, and if you liked it, be sure to like. And there is tons of content on the way as we got Ozu, the director, 2 movies of his coming up. There's going to be some Bergman coming up, and maybe some Akira Kurosawa stuff to be on the lookout for, and tons more. So please subscribe to the channel. I very much appreciate you all, and I will catch y'all on the flippity floop. Bye, y'all.